stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Captain. And good morning, everyone. So we're going to get started on our special meeting. It's about our parking enforcement vehicles. And before, I'm going to ask Captain Long to give us a presentation on the new system that we're proposing to go to. But before we do that, I just wanted to give a little background. So in August, and obviously that was before the change of the board then purchased this system that we currently have that hasn't really gone into operation yet. It's in a trial phase. And as everyone knows, the car looks horrendous with all that equipment on it. So, and more than that, we have a problem with redundancy because we only have one car. We have some handheld units, but the redundancy we don't have. If something happens to that car during the summer, we're going to have some major issues with enforcing our parking, since we plan on cutting the number of TCOs substantially to save money. So, Captain, if you could give us a presentation on the new system compared to the system we have, that would be terrific.
Sure. Good morning. So as requested at the last board meeting, I visited Southampton Village Police Department on Saturday and took a look at their Vigilant LPR system that they had installed on one of their patrol units. The system is set up for mobile plate reading and not the parking enforcement, but it does provide insight to the images recorded by the plate reader. So I was able to see the interface in the car. The cameras on the patrol units are considerably smaller than what we currently have installed with the auto chalk. And the user interface on the car computer shows an image of the vehicle parked with some surrounding features, so you can see where the car is parked. And it also shows in detail up close the license plate. This system, I feel, will be sufficient for the pay-by-plate and permit parking that the village is looking at. And I also believe it will be sufficient for the digital chalking portion, the timed parking that we're planning on doing with it. I'd like to inquire from the company if possibly the camera angle could be pulled out a little bit more, if that's adjustable. And if it is, that'll just provide a better picture in terms of the surrounding area of the car, which I think is very beneficial when we're doing time parking to show that the vehicle hasn't moved. One thing I did note with the officer that drove around with me in the car, it's the current setup that Southampton Village has does not provide additional outside lighting. So it will, at nighttime when it gets dark, it will only show the license plate. It does read the license plate very good at night, but it doesn't show the surrounding area because there's no supplement lighting. But I don't think that's going to be an issue for us because we're not doing time parking during the evening. So with the village's, priorities of making this a smaller, less visible system, and looking at the Vigilant system, the costs, I think the Vigilant system is a viable solution in order to address these concerns that the board has. And I think overall, it'll work just fine.
Terrific. What we should note is that the system that we currently own, we purchased for $68,000, which gave us the setup of one car. And what we're looking at is paying another $61,000 and getting a setup for two cars. It's important to note that the police department did put into their budget for next year a second vehicle setup, which would be somewhere about another $68,000. And the maintenance costs are higher from the current system we have. We have only paid $20,000 to the current company that we purchased these from. I know Beth had conversation with the owner yesterday, and he's not willing to refund any of the remaining 48,000. However, we hold the 48,000. So if this board decides to move forward with this proposed plan, we would unequip the current car we have and return all of those items to the owner, and then we would negotiate some kind of final payment. Does the board have any questions? Before we go any further, I did ask Lieutenant Chris Wetter, you'll see him on the screen here. He's from Southampton Village, where they currently use the system now. So if any board member or the public, when you call in, if you have any questions, you can certainly ask him what they think about the system as well. I'll turn it over. Anybody?
Yeah, Mayor, I have a question about the financial aspect of this. We committed to, I think it was $62,000 to Tannery Creek for the auto chalk system. We've only paid 20, but he wants the rest of the money, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, so we may not be able to negotiate anything on this. We may be on the hook for the whole.
Go ahead, Tiger. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
So we may be on the hook for the whole $68,000 for a system that we bought and agreed to pay for, which works just fine. It seems to me the only reason that we're doing this, well, it seems to be two reasons. One is the appearance of the vehicle, and two is the fact that the vigilance system is roughly half the cost. But it doesn't have all of the capabilities that the auto chalk system has. It has most of them, many of them, but not all of them. And when Captain Long made the presentation to us, he said that he had looked at many systems and he felt that this was the best system for enforcement. Personally, we all agree that the stuff hanging off that car is not the most attractive. But in my opinion, when people see that car driving around the village, they're going to know that, hey, I'm getting scanned. All right, I better keep track of what my time is. The vigilance system is much less obtrusive. And frankly, people may not see it to know that they're being scanned. I mean, if we were just looking for an LPR system like Southampton has, I think this obviously would be, 100% adequate. But I'm concerned about the cost. And realistically, if the village is concerned about having another vehicle, we could, add one vigilance system to complement our auto chalk system. And then we can compare the two and see which one really suits our purposes better. I mean, I'm just concerned about, $60,000 potentially going out the window, which could be used for sidewalk repair or a part of a DPW vehicle or any of the other things that, the village needs to spend money on now. I just don't think we can afford to throw away $60,000.
Okay. Anyone else?
I missed the last meeting, but I did go back and watch it. And Captain Long mentioned that as far as the aesthetics and our concern about the current system, the auto chalk system, that you might be able to modify some of the equipment on the back end to be included in the vehicle. And therefore it would be a little bit more streamlined, like the vigilance system. I think we can all agree the vigilance system is more discreet in its equipment and so forth, which I believe was the trigger to this conversation about, whether we should stick with the auto chalk or go to the vigilance. So I was just wondering if that is, a possibility. You're going to confirm that to make sure that that can be done, Captain.
Yes, the current system that we have, there is an option to put the equipment inside the vehicle, and that was presented to the village administrator.
Okay, great. Well, then, that would satisfy, that concern, I think, that we all have as far as the aesthetics. I think our decision here too has to be which system is superior in terms of its capability and functionality, and that then becomes the question for us. And I value the opinion of Captain Long and Chief Tracy, who have done extensive research on this. We heard a couple of presentations about the auto chalk, and now about the vigilant system, which also seems to be a good system. I believe our job is really to give the police department the best tools that we can to do their job, and I really value their input and their recommendations. So. That's where I stand with this. I am concerned too about that we have already paid for a system that seems to be, I haven't heard anything differently, and maybe there's something else that to be working fine. It's just, the aesthetics of the equipment that is the concern. And I know when we looked at the auto chalk system, we decided to go with a handheld as well, so we could have some redundancy in case the one car, had a problem, that we'd be, able to do parking enforcement with the handheld. So that is a concern as well, since, we've already paid $20,000, we might be obligated to pay the remainder of that, since there are so many other issues that the village, could spend $65,000 on. So those are my concerns, and at this point.
No,
I apologize, Mr. Mayor. Let me just push back on a couple of things here. It's $68,000, Tiger, not 62, and it's not fully committed. There is no contract with the company, which I got to be honest, kind of frightens me just a little bit that we're handing over $68,000 with zero contracts. That's a concern, number one. Number two, by the owner's own admission of, let's say, Company A, let's just call it that. Company A has even told me that even if they place the cameras inside the car, and Beth, I think you heard this as well, that the camera shots, which is their only value proposition now in comparison to Vigilant, Amber, that is, they lose camera quality. So the aesthetics are important, but also by correcting the aesthetics, Company A loses its major value proposition for us. So I don't know. We should keep that in mind.
Well, we should also think about moving forward. We're going to need a second vehicle for redundancy. We can't put all, our confidence in one vehicle. If it's down for service, we're not enforcing parking that day. If it gets into an accident, are we out of business for 3 weeks while the car is repaired? So the police department has a plan to put a second vehicle in operation in the next year's budget, which is another $68,000. Listen, we didn't make this decision back in August, and we're faced with something that is not, in my opinion, it's not aesthetically pleasing, and it's not giving us the value that we're going to get with the Motorola system. The Motorola system, we can get 2 vehicles equipped for the price of the one. So I think, sometimes we have to make tough decisions, and even though it may appear that we're wasting money, in the long run, I think we're going to save money. I mean, I look at this as bad as the McGurk Street and the Cooper Lane when they tried to put the monster pole up. This is a monster car. It looks like something from a sci-fi movie. I have a huge problem with it, and I have a huge problem moving forward, equipping more cars like this, and spending the money that we're spending. And quite honestly, when the board made this decision, there was no bid process. There was one quote. That was it. And the system we're going to now was on state contract then, and it's on state contract now. So I'm not sure what the thought process was back then, and quite frankly, I don't care. But moving forward, this is our decision now, and we're going to be stuck with that monster going forward and the lack of redundancy and more monsters coming.
I want to point out that only one bid was received by the board. There was no alternative when they made a $68,000 decision. I think that's got to be written into our policies that if for a purchase anything over, let's say $10,000 to $25,000, if there's only one bid, I think we should throw the bid out and start again until at least the board can see an alternative. Because now we find ourselves in a situation where it took me 3 days to find a company that can give us 2 vehicles for the price of one.
Well, I'll just reiterate. I know when we made the decision in last August to go this route, Mr. Mayor, you did stand up and say you thought it was a good idea. Now, I will admit that you had not seen the car, but you were in favor of moving ahead with the LPR reader for parking enforcement.
And Tiger, I still am.
Yeah,
that's where we're going with
right.
this.
I understand that. And frankly, what I would do in this case, we are committed to, as Marco says, Company A for this one car, at least $20,000 and probably more. If indeed we want to proceed with another vehicle, why don't we put vigilant on the other vehicle?
We can't do that. They won't sync that way. My issue, Tiger, and I just think that we have a chance to course correct now. We don't have it later. We'll own 2 separate systems. Even I put together just so you could see like I just did it this morning to see. Let me see if I can share it. All the way on the left, you'll see what we technically, quote unquote, our contract now, the $68,000 vehicle, because we have to get 2 vehicles in there. I mean, we have to get 2 vehicles. Everyone agrees with that. Captain Long, Chief Tracy. I mean, I don't have to speak for you guys. You let me know. You put it in your budget. So when we own that second vehicle at $138,000, even if look at Company B, even if we took on the $68,000 expense head on, which I don't think we will, and you put in the $60,000 of their cost for the 2 vehicles, we're still better off. And the real savings really comes with the maintenance aspect, which is, I apologize, right here. It's a $4,000 savings every single year. So we're back to normal in year 2 with the second vehicle. I think it kind of says it for itself. I don't know.
The $13,200 maintenance payment is only on Company A, I believe, is only for years 2 through 5. It was not payable in the first year.
From what the owner told me, that's an ongoing cost.
It's the first year the support and maintenance for auto chalk is included in that price. So there's no charge for, according to the contract that I have, or this proposal, there's no charge for that in the first year. But you're right, in the second, third, fourth, and fifth year, it is $13,000. Well, now we're hearing that the aesthetics are not going to be mitigated, if I'm hearing that correctly, because if we put the equipment inside the car, then the efficiency of the cameras is going to be in play. So. Right. That's an important part to this equation here. That's new information that I'm hearing right now from
Rose. I even tried to speak to the owner yesterday. Beth and I had a 2-hour-long conversation where we're trying to get this worked out with him. He's a really nice guy. And he, at the very end, as Beth knows, he actually told us that he's got the 2 smaller cameras. So I said, great, let's just do a switch. Let's just get what we want. And this is all over with. And he's just unwilling to do that. We're stuck with what we're stuck. And, I think when you're a manufacturer and you've given us a product for 3 months, I think that product is perfectly okay to take back, do a switch, and get ultimately we're the customer. And the village is impacted by this.
That's the other thing I was going to bring up is that we've bought these things with no contract, no return policy, nothing. I mean, this is insane to me that you can't return. We didn't know what this was going to. What if it had something else that say Captain Long didn't like? It didn't give us the photo quality that we thought we were going to get. There's no way to return this equipment. This is wrong, absolutely wrong. So I think I think Beth has a strong fight, and we return the equipment, and then we negotiate the final payment. That's my opinion.
I had a question for Chief Tracy and or Captain Long. Currently now with one car, how long does it take to circle your territory? For example, you have to circle the Rue de Chêne lot. You would therefore then have to circle the Skank lot. Then you would have to circle the village, all the streets, and the beaches, and the beach parking lot. I mean, I kind of think you need two cars, to be honest with you. I mean, what are your thoughts on the time frame of only one car doing that job? And that's not to say they don't have to stop and give a ticket to somebody, which would also take more time.
The loop that we currently tested with one car is about 35 minutes. Barring as you said, stopping to issue somebody a ticket, and barring traffic. Obviously when we're testing this time of year, traffic conditions, although it's a little bit busier than normal, it's still not summer traffic. So there's no doubt two vehicles are better. I mean, there's just no question about it.
What about the beach, Captain? Did you guys?
That includes
test that?
the beach.
That's 35 minutes for all 5 beaches? Is
35 to 40 minutes.
For all the beaches, the parking lots, the streets, the railroad, the long-term lot, everything?
Correct. I had the TCOs run it. Actually, both of them ran it.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
Right. Honestly, I'm not gonna argue with you, and I'm sorry, Rose, but I can't even drive that loop right now in 30 minutes in my car. And so, again, I'm sure this wasn't tested in the summertime traffic, and you have to figure on how many tickets would you think that car would give in a loop, considering now that it's able to tell if your registration's up, if your inspection's up, all of the reasons why someone would get a parking ticket. And granted, the Main Street lots are only 30-minute parking. So if it can't get back there in 30 minutes, doesn't seem to work. So, I mean, I think that we need redundancy. I'm a strong believer in having two. And apparently the police have it in their budget for two anyway. So, I think two is important. And I'm not a fan of the aesthetics of the current system. I think it looks very bad.
If I could real quick, we do need redundancy. And as the captain said, two cars would be ideal. And yes, you could have a car basically stuck in traffic in the village for quite a while. In a worst case scenario, two would be great. We also do have other people that are going to be writing tickets. Obviously, as we all know, we have beach patrol, and on certain days we have TCLs actually stationed at the beaches, going from beach to beach at times as well. So there are a number of different people that are involved in ticket writing regardless. And we are going to be doing that again this year. But as the mayor said, we're cutting back our TCO manpower substantially. And a lot of focus is going to be on traffic control, as you saw last year under the main new town light and at the Park Place intersection, our two biggest problem areas in the village. We want to have manpower there. But we'll be able to do it. And the tickets are going to get written regardless. But two would be our preference.
Lieutenant Wetter, I appreciate you coming on. Can you just give us what's your thoughts about the system?
Well, I could tell you from our experience, the vigilance system, from what we use it for, the LPR system alone, we're very happy with it. We're very happy with the software, how the user operates the software. We've done extensive research about 3 or 4 years ago. We looked at PlateSmart, we looked at Vigilant, and we looked at LSEG and a couple other companies that were willing to come in and write some programs to work for us. And pretty much, off the shelf, Vigilant was the better solution for us. They did come in and do a presentation for us on the parking solution. We thought it was a no-brainer as far as integrating right into the current software that we were running in the vehicle. Actually, all of our MDTs have that software in it. So, I'll tell you that we are very happy with the Vigilant system. Would definitely give it high marks and would recommend it.
All right. I would like the village attorney to give us a little bit of an opinion as to how much, what kind of settlement we might be able to reach with this company, if she has an opinion on that.
As of right now, as Marcos has said, he's looking for his whole price. It's his opinion that he delivered his product and his and we, we have it. It's on the car, everything. One thing that we may be able to whether he's going to challenge, he's a Canadian business, so he's located in Canada, which may or may not complicate some things. But we also, I think he included that service price into his original price, that we get in a year free. Maybe that's something we can say, listen, let's just take that $13,000 off because obviously we don't need your service, your maintenance. So that's one thing right away we could say, as far as giving back the equipment, there has to be some repurpose for it, reuse for it. I don't think it's just going into the garbage. So I think there should be, and so there should be some wiggle room as far as seeing, how much we could actually recoup, how far he's going to challenge that. And, I can't say right now.
Well, is what I'm hearing is that we were going to spend money on a second vehicle next year. All right. So that would be, as Marco says, $138,000. All right. What I'm hearing is that we can do Vigilant for less money for 2 cars this year. And I just would like to hear again from either the chief or Captain Long that they feel that this system is 100% as good, or certainly 100% as adequate as the Company A system, as we call it. Are we giving up any real functionality?
I think with the board's priorities now, the Vigilant system is going to work just fine. It's going to satisfy the requirements that have been put forth, and it'll do its job. And I don't think it'll, I don't think we'll be any worse off for it. It's cheaper. We'll have 2 of them. I think it's going to work just fine. So yeah,
okay.
I don't see an issue with it.
Yeah, and will this Vigilant system, which we're using for parking enforcement, will it also act as a regular LPR, the way Southampton uses theirs?
Yes.
So we're effectively killing 2 birds with 1 stone?
That's my understanding, correct.
Okay.
That is a benefit, Trustee Graham, that we had spoken about last year when we had a discussion of the regular LPRs, fixed LPRs, in theory at certain locations, especially in around the time where we had motor vehicle thefts in our area and actually the entire east end of Long Island. And that was something that we were planning to do at some point later. This would, in fact, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So we would probably not be making that budget request for that other LPR system if we were to utilize this one.
All right. And the last concern that I have is more reputational. Usually when we say we're going to do something, we do it. And now we're kind of going back on a deal. I'm not particularly happy with that reputationally.
I made that same comment, Tiger, to the manufacturer who won't accept his product back 3 months after he delivered it. I understand. I mean, this is a special situation. There's been public outcry. I told him I don't even want to have this special meeting to just further magnify his company in this. I really don't. He's a really nice guy, but it is what it is.
We do have Amber from the Vigilant Company on the line here with us, if anybody has questions for her.
No, I think when she presented to us at the last meeting, she made her points. I have not seen as much detail on their system as I did on the other at the time we had the meeting. Since then, I have gone through both companies' information, and frankly, the only capability that it looks like we're going to be giving up is maybe some nighttime capability and some bad weather capability. But as Captain Long told me the other day, we don't chalk in snowstorms anyhow. So I think that's probably something that we can give up, that we're, not going to worry about.
All right, great. Before I go to public comment, does anybody have anything else from the board? All right, so Jody, do you have anybody on the phone?
There are no callers on the line right now.
All right. June, I think we have one email that came in from Maddie Lawler. Could you read that?
Oh, I didn't get an email from her. I got an email from David Karen.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. You scared me. I thought I got another one. Okay. Email this morning from David Karen. Dear members of the board, I am very concerned that you are making a rash decision on the purchase of a new parking enforcement system. The current system appears to be a better product and offers a superior service than the proposed Motorola system. Captain Long commented that the images provided by the current system were phenomenal. From the meeting, all I could gather was that this system was replacing the current functional system because of the aesthetics. The mayor alluded to this at the village meeting, saying that this is about how it looks, not how it functions. Why would you spend $61,285 on an inferior system without first seeing what the current vendor can offer? Captain Long has already uncovered that they can make the current vehicle more pleasing on the eye by placing some of the cameras and radars inside the vehicle. The purchase of the proposed new system seems extremely wasteful and an inefficient solution in a time where the board is making drastic cuts in other areas of the village budget. David Karen, village resident, 100 Newtown Lane.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to address that. I apologize, just a portion of that. We aren't making any drastic cuts. I think the cuts that they were referring to were to Park Mobile, and those are just efficiencies created by technology. The same way the TCOs, there will be a cutback, as the chief noted, regarding parking enforcement, 2 vehicles running around the village. So that's all that is.
Thanks, Marcos. And I just want to thank David for his comment, taking the time to write the board. However, I think we, as a group, have answered all his concerns. So I think we can move forward.
What is the, one last question, and what is the lifespan of these systems?
If I may, so typically it's about, they're about 5 to 7 years, but as with any technology, new technology is constantly developed. Like if you think about your cell phones and stuff. And so where we sit right now is like, we see our cameras in the field over 7 years. Do you know what I mean? And one thing that's important to note is that all of your software updates are included in this, and those are at no cost, and they're pushed via the air. So they're constantly updated as we continue to enhance the software. And then also when you do reach end of life, or if you have some sort of mechanical problem or something like that, we both have hardware upgrade programs, and then we can also work with you should the camera get damaged or broken or something like that to replace it.
Great, thank you, Amber. All right, so I think we're going to, I just want to thank the lieutenant from Southampton Village for coming on, and thank Amber for coming on. And I think we're just going to have June read the resolution.
Sure.
And we'll have a vote.
Resolution number 1, make a motion to approve the $61,285 proposal for the Motorola Vigilant Parking Enforcement System, $2,500 installation cost for each enforcement vehicle, 2, and an annual reoccurring agreement of $9,200 per year for 5 years.
Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just for the record, everybody voted yes, and it's passed and carried. Thank you. Thank you all for coming on today. Can I get a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
All in favor?
Second.
Meeting is closed. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.